Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Sorry for no 3D model today. I'm just not feeling. I'm not feeling it. So, VTuber it is. But hello, hello. It's time to talk about math. Because math is kind of important. I feel that not that well. Not that well. But I gotta keep going. I gotta keep moving. My house damages won't pay for itself. And things have gotta get done. So. I know, math. We gotta do with math, right? We gotta do math today. At least we gotta solidify a general idea of how we want the combat to go. Because this game will have combat, but I don't want it to be mind-numbing combat. I want it to be, like, active and just fast-paced to not draw away from the casual nature of it. Still needs to happen, regardless. But yeah. I figured I'd ask first how y'all doing. Might not work on your own story. It's all good. No, please, not my mind. I want to challenge Lamau. There should be a fish monster that does 2 points. Lamau. Well, like I mentioned before, essentially, because you are a necromancer, you are a lich, essentially, you have an army of zombies and undead, kind of, to help you out. I know this music doesn't fit at all with the vibe, but I just don't have the energy to look for copyright-free battle music. So it's just like, I just don't have the energy. Let's see. But yeah, today we're going to figure out the combat system and how exactly that's going to work. Because the minute that we get it done, the less we're going to have to wait to do it later. Because it's going to have to be done one way or another. And then if we manage to finish and figure out a system early enough, we could probably talk about more of the characters. Because I wanted to design the characters today, but then shit happened behind the scenes, and so now I gotta kind of like vibe and chill. I gotta relax. Apparently your favorite world of the game. Very nice. Critical brain damage, huh? Well, thank you, appreciate it. I'm gonna try my best. Again, solo dev, so walking in very, very cold, very, very unsure where to go, but gonna try and figure it out as I go along. Wasn't here for the other streams and I'm too lazy to busy watching. Could you please explain a bit? Thank. How do I explain it in the simplest of terms? Because you should watch the other streams. I'm just saying you should watch them. But how do I explain it in the most simplest way possible so we don't get into like distraction territory? You play as a necromancer who takes back your family's farm, and now you run a farm that your zombies work as like the farmhands. But of course, the Holy Order does not want you to have that, so you have to defend your farm while also maintaining the farm. Yeah? Does that make sense? Is that kind of like the bare bone basic, like, if you just hand this to someone on a sheet of paper, that basically explains it? So I take it we won't talk about how the whole thing with the bear cub not being allowed to go outside because the danger might be... Not yet. Not... If... Here's the deal. You see that goal right there? That's the goal of today. That is the goal. That is the goal. It must be done today. Because if we don't finish the goal, well then I did my job wrong. Because I want to be able to focus on one facet at a time. Or else, if my brain goes in a million different directions, this is never going to be fucking done. So, the goal is, we figure out the combat system, we figured out how the hell it works, and then we can move on to the more fun stuff. Because if we don't do the combat system, well then half the game won't be done. Point blank period. So yeah. Alright. So, combat! Let's talk about it for a minute. As I mentioned, you run the farm, you have your zombies managing it, it's great, it's fantastic, it's wonderful. However, the Holy Order, being the assholes that they are, they do not want you to have any sort of the farmland. They want to be able to exercise the farmland and expand part of their nation, because they're assholes. So, here's the thoughts of how combat needs to work in my head. If it doesn't work out like this, then it is what it is. We change it up later, but this is kind of how I've had it in my head for years. It's passive, it's very reactive. It's basically tower defense. So you every day until the attack, because the attack is either going to happen like at the end of the week, every other day, or something like that, where like you will be prepared for the attack when it happens. I'm not going to be that asshole like, surprise attack! Adventurers come at night with pitchforks and torches. Like, no, I'm not going to. I see no reason for that. But essentially, you'll have a notice ahead of time of adventurers or like the Holy Order coming in to try and attack. You'll have like spies, kind of like, because of course you want to protect your farmland, so of course you'll have like your shadowy spies and magic, kind of the weave, kind of telling you to be prepared for danger. So player gets to prepare ahead of time for your defenses. That includes your zombie workers, because your zombie workers will have HP and armor and damage and all that stuff. And you can also lay out traps. There are many types of traps you can have on board. Basically, if I can scroll, because I have a whole fucking mess of fucking Google Doc. Not Google Doc, but I have a Word document. Of course, you have like, based on your level, and you can summon like zombies, skeletons, golems. Oh, good, thanks for coming. Golems, wraiths, hounds, all that stuff. And of course, you can upgrade them with like armor for their armor, and then weapons for their damage stuff. Basic shit. Again, one person. I gotta figure it out. I have to be the one to figure it out. If I have to expand the roster, it has to be something that I can do myself. So yeah, right now we technically have wood, iron, and magic. That will boost up over time when you do upgrades and work with the demon and all that stuff, whether it be romantically or not romantically. But the field traps, there's like, you can drop caltrops, you can have a spiked barricade, you can use your magic to spew cursed thorns around like the entrance of your area. You have an eldritch barrier that the adventurers have to break through. The trees, they will attack and throw apples because they're assholes. Hungry soils, things like that. Like, obviously, you'll have different kinds of worker zombies working on the field. But yeah, there's that. So you'll have your zombie workers. Was it caltrop? Have you ever stepped on a Lego? It's essentially an obstruction on the floor that if you step on it, it fucking hurts. So yeah, it's one of those things. Yeah, so just keep it simple. Yeah, I gotta keep it as simple as possible, but it still needs to be fun. It still needs to be something that the player can be like, oh, I can get this. I can kind of get this. Whatever. So the apple trees are the ones dropping animals. Yes. Can we get corn maze walls? Again, right now, just kind of I want to keep focus on combat before we add more ideas for like traps, organization of the farm, etc., etc. Despite wearing shoes, caltrops are like Legos with large spiky knives attached to them. So like big knives attached to these Legos, if you would. But yeah, think Legos with knives. There you go. So shoes don't matter. I have Sprite to kind of help me out. All right. But yeah, you have your zombie workers, which will be upgradable, etc., etc. And then you have traps. It's passive. You get to prepare ahead of time, etc. The spikes, essentially. Yeah, in essence. The thing is, I know that you're playing the necromancer, you're the lich. You cannot use your abilities. I want that to be in lore, as in like, you want to try and help because obviously you want to protect your farm. But of course your mom and your dad are like, no, don't use your fucking magic, stupid. If you do that, then like, basically they'll know that you're alive and the Holy Order will 100% try and kill you rather than just try and send out scouting parties. So yeah, so to figure out attack, we need to figure out base enemy defense. And it's both. Yeah, we need to figure out. Well, first we need to figure out how we kind of want to deal with this statistically. So of course, again, that's why I'm going through all of this right now because I know the instincts like, well, why doesn't the player have their magic? They're a lich. They're a necromancer. They were almost the BBG. It's like, no. The reason why you can't use your abilities is because you can't let the Holy Order know who you are. Because remember, you escaped the heroes from killing you when you were trying to be the BBEG of the world. Because you escaped, you don't want to give them a reason to think you're still alive. So it's like, you're pretty much on the back end. Your foot's on the back end on that one. So you have to rely on your zombie workers. Which, there's gonna be a funny scene. I want to have a scene where, like, that first night when you know... Yeah, the fact that you know that there are adventurers coming to try and, like explore and essentially take over the farm. You want to be able to defend it and scare them off, but of course your family's like, no, don't do that. No, don't do that. But your zombies, however, they have the natural muscle memory, and they also have magical memory of defending you. So they're not necessarily defending the farm, they're defending you. So the zombies will essentially get back into position that they were, if that kind of makes sense. So they served you when you were the Dark Lord taking over the world. But they also still have that memory, and they want to protect you the same way. If they believe the farm's getting attacked from zombies, the traps, exactly. So it's one of those things where, like, you can't defend the farm, but the zombies can defend you, which also defends the farm. So that kind of makes sense there. So because the zombies have that natural muscle memory and that natural magical obedience to protect you, they have the advantage, regardless of who's coming in. Regardless of even if it's the Holy Order's top brass coming. They have the muscle memory and the advantage to attack and defend first. That's how combat's going to be streamlined, rather than just be like, okay, whoever has the highest speed will attack first. Like, no, your zombies know better. Your zombies actually have the magical capability of understanding, okay, we protect our master, we know how to protect our master, we go first. Will the zombies be like the ones from Plants vs. Zombies? I don't think so. One, copyright, and two, these zombies are, again, these are more fantasy, like, realistic zombies. So I don't want it to be cartoon-like. I want it to be, like, these are legitimate zombies that look kind of like the avatars that would be for the monsters and all that stuff. And also, note, combat is automatic and will resolve itself. I don't want the player to have active input. Basically, your active input will be in your preparation. How well you prepare your farm for the attack will be how it resolves. So if you didn't prepare ahead of time, you are fucked. So it's one thing, that's part of why I want the day-night system to be on your choice rather than it be automatic. Etc, etc. Isn't our siblings attacking us every week or something? I think it's every month that I decided, either every month or every season. Because there's 4 of them, so I figure every 3 months they'll resolve to attack. Which gives you enough time to kind of bolster your farm, get it ready for the big attacks, etc, etc. Will the side at least look nice? I don't know. I don't know. I honestly don't. My brain has not gotten that far yet, because my brain is more like, what can I do without any money? What am I physically able to do without any sort of dime to my name? Because all my extra dimes, like the example, like the goal that you see that's already been filled to extreme, that's going towards my broken house. So I have $0 to my name. What can I make with $0 to my name? So I don't necessarily have a mindset to think of the art style right now. My thoughts are, what can I do right now by myself? Well, some of the bosses, no. Too far ahead. Again, focus, goal, today's goal. So yeah, I want the combat to be passive. I want it to be where it's reactive to what you have prepared. Because there will be lore, basically, little cutscenes being like, oh, you sense a group of adventurers coming. Whether it be like you have little shadowy crows and ravens sitting in the trees, like being your watchdogs or all that stuff. Or you hear from the villagers like, yeah, there's a adventuring party talking about coming in, etc, etc. Things like that. So we have that going. If you fail to beat the boss, well, how will the rebattle? No, it's just game over. That'll be just a game over. Because if you don't beat the boss, which is coming your way, That's why it's a tower defense. You're not actively attacking bosses. You are defending your area. If you fail to defend your area, you fail. Obviously, save points will be important because that's another system that I need to figure out by myself down the line, a save system. But, like, or, like, some sort of rewind system. So, that way it's like, hey, prepare yourself for this battle. This is not one that you can actively participate in. This is, you have to watch as your plans be put to the test. Can your zombies defend your farm? Can your traps defend your farm? Because you cannot help them. Because if you help them, you expose who you are, and then the entirety of the Holy Order will come your way. The basic crow, adventurers are entering the dark forest. We prepare for battle. Like, it's kind of like ominous shit like that, where like you wake up in the fucking morning and you hear like your crow scout kind of like enter your window and just be like, ah, I see. 4 stupid adventurers in a top hat and a trench coat are trying to come in and all that shit. So yeah, it's kind of like that sort of dealio. Where your preparation is how you will defend yourself. If you cannot beat the boss, you will die. You will fail. Because the boss is not going to test you and leave. They're going to try and come in and exercise immediately. They are not there to scout. They are there to invade. Communicate in zombie language. Lamau. Alright, so the stats that I have in mind, I want to keep it very, very stupid, 0 IQ basic. Now I'm thinking about 3 kobolds in a trench coat. Lamau. I want to keep it stupid basic. It is 8 hit points, armor, and damage. What is the boss? There's 4. Your siblings. But is it time for math? Not yet. We're still trying to go over like things to do and all that shit. What kind of flesh golems, of course, flesh golems, because you're a necromancer. But nonetheless, hit points, armor, and damage. That's kind of what I want to focus on. Is those 3 stats? I think with those 3 stats, hit points, armor, and damage, I think we can develop at least a basic automatic combat system. Where it's, again, I don't want to rely on speed. I don't want to rely on, like, who's the fastest. It's going to be reliant on the cyclical, where it's movement, attack, and then repeat. Movement, attack, repeat. Things like that, if it makes sense. So, of course, obviously, hit points, life force, if it reaches 0, the being ceases to live, whether they're dead, whether they're undead or otherwise. Armor is your defense. Damage is how much power they can do against a target, against their enemy. Whether you're on one side or the other. So, do we go by multiples of 5 or 10? That's what we're trying to figure out today. It's like, how do we want this combat to resolve? Because it needs to be resolved automatically. It cannot be resolved via the player's choice. It needs to be resolved like a tower defense game, where you remember those tower defense games where you see the line of enemies coming your way and like you have those towers which will automatically shoot and attack? Kind of like that, but it's more physical combat rather than ranged combat. Would you say that heat resistant is different from fire resistant? Yes. But again, focus! Focus! We gotta focus on this game. I gotta focus on this game. I can't be changing things up. So, but yeah, so again, it's one of those, this is a tower defense game where you can prepare before the attack happens, but once the attack happens, it's out of your hands. It is out of your hands the minute that the attack happens. Because if you do get involved, you will be found out, and then the entirety of the Holy Order will be coming your way. So, I have not told anyone what the hashtag stands for yet. But it's funny. It's great. I love it. I never thought of the reason why there are bosses with 1 million defenses in them now. So they won't walk a predetermined path, I take it? No. The goal, the idea that I had in mind, I wish I could kind of draw it. Because I just don't have the brain power to draw right now. Imagine like, let me see. Can I actually hold on? Can I actually draw on this? Let's see. Draw. Okay. So, great. So imagine, perfect. Great. So imagine if you would, here's your farm. It looks great. The farm. Yeah, great, fantastic, wonderful. Here's your parents, because they're watching very obediently, because it's great. And then, of course, like, you have your farm area. So of course you have your like your farm, like this is the entry, like where if you see the game screen, this is kind of what you would see. If that kind of makes sense. So your farm area actually expands all the way down past the game screen area. So like game screen area being like, for example, like here. So this is what you would see kind of like in your 16 if I could phrase 16 by 9 game space. Sure. That's what you can kind of see, but your farm actually expands farther down. Expands so much farther down. And then this is like there's like a gate right here, which is like the entrance to your farm. There's like a big gate right there, like if I can fucking draw it properly. So there's a big gate and a fence that like expands to 1,000,000 miles one way and 1,000,000 miles the other way, because that's kind of your territory. Your parents bought the land. Of course, the land is theirs. They decided to frame it off because they're good farm investors. So there's that. So you have all of this farm. So of course, like you'll have like your zombies like working on different areas because they can. You'll have like all the zombies working, blah, 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 blah. And then of course you can have like little traps, like you can lay out traps like here, and that's great. Sure, whatever, you can lay your traps out, whatever the case may be. But of course, this is where your enemies will also be coming in from. Your enemies will actually be coming down from here. So let's just assume that your enemies will come here and head up that way. So they'll be marching up your farmland. They're not smart enough to go around because they're stupid. They're adventurers. Who cares? They go straight for the target. Target being this. That's the target. So enemies that spawn here will march up the farmland, trying to pretty much salt the land, exercise it on the way up, while your zombies will come down. Well, they won't come down. They'll stay right where they are, actually. That's actually smarter. They'll stay right where they are in their little workspaces, ready to defend their area. And also be the defense for your farmland. So yeah, does this make sense now? Does this make sense now? I just genuinely want to know if this makes sense, because there's be like, again, trap. Then there's like trap, same there. So yeah, it's enemies. So if I can write enemies, enemies, they're enemies. I can spell. But yeah, so enemies march up. There's traps over here because traps are cool. And then of course there's your zombie workers, whether they're working on like crops or whatever the fuck. Enemies, yes. So enemies. Your brain doesn't hurt to make sense. Great. I want it to be stupid simple, so simple that I could program it. Because again, I'm poor. So of course there's your zombies. They'll be protecting all that stuff. And so when they come up, like they'll be obviously damaged from all of the traps, because they'll take they take damage here. Oh, yep. They take damage here from traps. And then this is where combat would start, idealistically. A combat area, if I could write that. Yeah, so if that's kind of what you would want strategic-wise. Obviously, you can flip-flop this. You can change it however the fuck you want. You could make a combination of zombies. You can have, like, your zombies, like, here and here and here. But mind you, you live here. You are here. So when you're not dealing with combat, you're gonna have to walk your happy ass all the way down. Yeah, you'd have to walk all the way down to meet up with them in order to make sure they do their job. So strategically, it's better to have your zombies near you versus having them surrounded by traps. Again, it's based on how you want to play, how you organize your farm, and how you defend it properly. Like Jojo walk, just Jojo walk. But yeah, so it's kind of like you decide how difficult and how complex you want your farm to be. If you find a way to break the system, so be it. You find a way to break the fucking system and defend your farm. Because that's the goal. Defend your goddamn farm. And do you consider yourself in the adventurers? You are still in your lich form, but you're not like the almighty Oz epicness of like a lich where you scare the people from just looks. You're more of like a Grim from Adventures of Billy and Mandy, where you're just kind of more subdued form. You have a more subdued form to kind of blend in and not be as conspicuous as you walk up and be like, oh god, you're the evil necromancer of old! Things like that. Like a budget lich. Yeah, you used to have the designer bags. You used to have the Gucci bags. You used to have the Ferraris. You used to have the Mr. Beast level of energy. But then you decided to trade it all in for, like, thrift store shit in order to, like, not get found out. So yeah, it's one of those things where, like, you're in hiding. You obviously are in the back. You obviously cannot fight. You obviously are watching this get resolved. So, yeah. You used to have Lamborghinis and eat caviar. Exactly! You used to have Lamborghinis and eat caviar. And now you're not. And now you are no longer a material girl. You now are like, oh god, I have to have girl dinner. You went from material girl to girl dinner. Let's think about that for half a minute. Oh my god. You don't have the material girls. Only the poor ass zombies. No, the zombies understand. And in fact, I have a joke that the zombies are happier doing this. The zombies are actually happier doing farm work rather than constantly defending your territory. So, but they still have the muscle memory to defend your territory. Madonna should make a song sequel, Girl Dinner. The Dinner Girl. Oh my lord. But yeah, so we're trying to figure out how this can get resolved automatically and how we logically can program this. Because if I need to figure out how to program this, fine. But it needs to be the key that it needs to be the goal of the, if I can do the thing. Oh wait, hello. Hello. Like, hello. Why can't hello? There we go. Like, hello? Okay. Again, it needs to be automatic and resolves itself. This is the big key point. It needs to be automatic and resolve itself. You can only watch as your preparation is tested. Because obviously you cannot respond in kind. You cannot just be like, finger of death, all of them. You can't obviously, like, do your necromancy shit. So, yeah. Oh, my heavens, the Lich of Old is here in the village. Dude, I'm just here to buy some seeds for my farm. Zombies prefer farm is actually benefit decide not there once corporate. Yeah, exactly. They just find calm. They find calm there. So what's the issue here? The issue is making sure it makes sense. With the problem with game development and the problem with just creating in general, it makes sense in my head. Me, the creator, it makes sense in my head how I want it to go. Obviously, there is the automatic. You have the avatars of the enemies moving up, and while they're moving up, if they pass through a hitbox, they'll obviously be damaged because automatic. That's automatic. That's easy done. If they pass by a thing, they get hurt. Great. But once they hit a zombie, that's when an automatic combat starts, where a zombie will hit first, do damage, then enemy will hit next, then do damage. And it goes and goes until either the zombie dies or the enemy dies. To me, it makes sense. To the creator, it makes sense. To the player, it may not make sense. How fast? I don't give a shit about speed. Speed is not a stat I want to add into this. So everyone moves the same goddamn pace. Everyone moves at 5 feet a square, at 30 foot range, just like D&D. But without having those turn-based mechanics. I want it to be automatic. I want it to be, it's not where it's just like you're kind of watching every 6 seconds what happens in the action. No, you're watching this happen automatic. So yeah, speed, not a stat I want to add. Like, combat, how well they do in combat versus like them having any sort of percentage of failure, not a stat I want to add. We all have a base speed, and the thing is, it's only the enemies who are moving. There's only enemies moving, unless, like, down the line I want to have the dogs actually be able to move to meet with the enemies. Because your zombie workers should be working on your farm. They shouldn't be just standing there being stupid. They should be working on your farm. But if I do have spots where, like, you want guard posts, or you have the release the hounds, things like that. Yeah, I said guard dogs. Hold on. Up here. Right, like hounds. We got hounds right here. Yeah, right here, hounds. We got some dogs and some wraiths and all that stuff. So obviously you can eventually build, like, guard posts and, like, stations where, like, you can have more defensive zombies. But yeah. You're not gonna mention a range between 10s and 12s at a most basic range. No, like, every character, no matter if it's zombie or enemy, will have a set of hit points that'll keep them alive, set of armor that can reduce damage, and the amount of damage that they can do. There is no range of, oh, the big boss can hit and do damage between 20 and 50. Like, no. They're gonna go all out. They're gonna 100% try and go all out. They'll do 30 damage every hit. But yeah, I want simple numbers. I want simple numbers. So number crunchers can have a lot of fun trying to determine the best defense. Okay, now you're lost. Okay, so the enemies... Okay, we're gonna go scroll back down to our guide. Yeah, so... Enemies moving towards it. Yes. And you're not doing anything unless it's touch them. Correct. Because you don't want to be like, go zombies! Go attack them! Because you're obviously not supposed to be... You're not supposed to look threatening. If you give the idea that your farm is a threat, your entire livelihood is a threat. Because guess what? If any of them survive, there's a risk of them going to the Holy Order and be like, hey, zombies are invading. We need to have the Holy Order come and bring their big arsenal of people to attack. So you have to let them attack you. So the goal is for you all not to move. Once your zombies in place, that's their defensive spot. Down the line, I'd like to add guard posts that will give you a chance to just have zombies purely for defense and not for, like, farming purposes. But the goal is to look as non-threatening as possible while still having full defense. Yeah, in other words, this is self-defense mode. You are not in a position to attack. Yeah, self-defense law even apply to... Exactly. This is stand your ground. We are now introducing the stand your ground law on this farm. You step into the farmland, you enter the farmland, you come towards the farmland, you're getting hit. But you cannot actively be a threat to look like you're attempting to move out of the farmland. So that's why, potentially, if there is sending out the dogs... It's just dogs. They're not like an undead army attempting to breach through a farmland to go into the holy area. Will there be something like perfumes or zombies don't try? Your zombies only work in the farm. There are only 2 locations. There are only 2 locations in this game. Because I am a single game developer. I am a single game developer. I'm a single game developer. There are only 2 locations. The farm, which you stay your happy ass on with your zombies living your life of peace. Or the hamlets, to which you can get, like, your supplies and your romance options and your friendships and the thing that you build towards the end of the game. Those are the singular 2 locations that you get because I do not have the money to pay for a programmer to make more. So you will not be visiting any villages. You will not be trying to interact with humans. Humans are just trying to fuck up your shit and you are trying to defend yourself. That is the goal. Release the hounds. I want that. I would love for that to be possible, but I want to get down the basic shit first. So yeah, as prominent Holy Order figures go missing, he still has to consider that the threat is entirely Holy Order. Exactly. Very PVZ of... I mean, I guess in terms of that, but can you blame me? I'm a single game dev. What am I supposed to do? Like, I can't be spending like a million years trying to make this work. I want to be able to make it realistically work under my hat. Because I have no money to pay for programmers, to pay for people to help me. I can't. And I don't feel comfortable being like, well, I'll volunteer my time. No, I don't feel comfortable doing that because everyone deserves to be paid for their work. So if I can do it myself, great. We are species to humans deal with a human. It works in its own way. Okay. I want it to make sense. And I want it to where it looks like it can be solvable and customizable for the player. It's not going to be like Plants vs. Zombies where like you get cards and you can lay out your zombies during the fight. This is during your daytime and during the week, you can prepare your farm for this attack. And then when the attack happens, you have to watch it resolve. You have to watch and see if you were fully prepared. Because if you weren't fully prepared, the adventurers are going to come in and burn down your farm. Or the Holy Order is going to come in and exercise and salt your lands. And then kill you. Once they figure out that you live there. Because once they see you, they're going to see, oh, a living skeleton? Either you're undead or you're a problem. Regardless, you're getting exercised. That's overall amazing, though, as an idea. Great! I'm glad. Ooh, because this is only the combat mechanics. Everything else is pretty smooth sailing as a casual game. It's pretty fucking smooth sailing. Do we need to steal enemy plans or have something like a clue? We have spies. Like, you will have, again, like I mentioned, you will have spies outside of this. So, let me get my pen again. You'll have spies outside of here. Like, you're not just fully isolated here where all you know is this. You'll have spies, or you'll have, like, for example, the witch or the changeling, the shapeshifter kind of go up to you and be like, hey, just so you know, there's an adventuring party on the way. You should probably prepare. They'll probably be here in like 3 days. Be prepared. So things like that. I can't have a think of Necromancer and Zest would be good friends. Maybe. Probably. You make a simple game first and then upgrade a version once you get... Exactly! I would like to upgrade it when I get funds. But right now, I'm keeping it stupid simple that even a child could program it in Scratch. But because I am mentally a child who will probably try to figure this out in Godot. But yeah. Like the enemy attacking Z formation plays zombies to stop that. No, like, again, you prepare before the attack, and you have to watch as the attack resolves by itself. So once the attack starts, you cannot help them. You cannot help your zombies. You cannot lay more traps. You have to watch it resolve. Because again, it's about if they figure out who you are, they will instantly retreat and go report to the Holy Order, and then the entirety of the Holy Order will come and exercise your lands, and there's no way in hell you can defend against that. No way in hell. So yeah, it's one of those things. Like you knew before, beforehand that information. Yeah, like your spies and all that, either the spies will let you know via in the morning, or like when the witch or the changeling comes back from their daily excursions, they'll let you know, hey, there's an adventuring party on the way. Just get ready and be prepared. And that way you have like, okay, they're going to come in 3 days. They're going to come in 2 days. They're going to come tonight. You make it a fancy bread, make it a fancy bread. But yeah, okay. Does that make sense? Is this something that is like, okay, I understand, I can get this, I can at least have a little bit of fun with the customization, because, not gonna lie, down the line, I would love to see, like, hey guys, this is my farm build, and you just see, like, an entire fucking range of what farm builds people have. That would be fun. Will you be able to pet the hounds? Probably. Most likely. I would have a shitty game if I wouldn't let you pet the hounds. There'd be a secret stat called happiness, and when you pet the hounds, the hound's happiness goes up, and then your happiness also goes up, but you'll never know because it's a secret stat. It's an invisible stat. So just experiment while places of going blind. A little bit. It's knowing that you have people coming on your way, and obviously you'll have the stats of your zombies ahead of time. Like, it's not like you're gonna summon zombies and you don't know their HP. No, you know their HP. All of them have the same HP, because I want simple. But of course, you can upgrade it using, like, weapons and armor, etc., etc. But you have the math. You have the math. But yeah, so basically you place your zombies and care for the farm and attack intruders. On the night of the attack, you go to bed and your zombies go apeshit on anyone who comes to try and hurt you. Exactly! Exactly! It automatically resolves. It just resolves by itself. Automatically. No need for your input. Because if you input yourself, you're in trouble. But yeah, if this makes sense, I can figure out the combat. If this doesn't make sense, I need to figure out why. It's one thing for me to go, this is how I want the combat system, and it's another where they're like, if you are the player, I'm like, I don't get it. What am I supposed to do? Like, I want you all to know this is how it's done. We don't have girl bosses, but we do have lich math. We have lich math. Oh my god. But this seems doable. Does this? Does this seem doable? Does this seem, like, understandable? Do we still see the fight, or can you skip? I would like it where you can see the fight, you can choose to witness the fight or skip. Because if you witness the fight, you'll see how it resolves, and you'll kind of see how the zombies defend, and that way you can change your farmland, you can change your strategy as needed. Or if you're just that confident, you can just go to bed. And then you'll either wake up with the aftermath, or you'll not wake up because you're dead. That's one of those. So yeah, you'll have an option. If you skip and end up losing, well, then you're dead. Then you're dead. That is what it is. Like Necromancer Stardew, a little bit. It's not that you want to be left alone. It's more of just you tried to take over the world and you failed. And instead of dying to the hero's party, you're just like, no, I'm just going to go be off in the farmland. Fuck y'all. I'm going to live. Fuck y'all. It should be simple enough that anyone can play, even the big person. Yeah, exactly. It's just like, I want this to be simple. I want this to be understood. I don't want people to be like, God, this is so hard. It shouldn't be hard. I promise you it should not be hard. Because if it was hard, I, a casual player, would cry my eyes out. But I want it to be to where even non-casual players could play this game and have a little bit of enjoyment. You either wake up in your own pink world, or you end up one of the employees. Exactly. So yeah. So the idea then is to kind of figure out a system that automatically resolves this, because this is the problem that I'm gonna have trying to figure out. This is the problem. It's easy enough to have people have hit points. It's easy enough to give damage that takes away hit points. That's stupid easy. It's how armor will deflect damage. How will armor deflect damage? And how much damage can it deflect? That's where the math comes in. Guys, we are now entering math territory. So how much defense can it have? Basically, yeah, we need... So, armor can never... If we're going by percentage... My thoughts are we can go by percentage. So, arm goes by percent. So, that said, it can never be 100%. It can never be 100. Because 100% means you negate all damage, and that's stupid. So obviously your armor, like, if you have... Yeah, for example, like... if you have a 20 in your armor, then you will negate 20% of damage. Things like that. That's the problem. So that's what I'm going to have an issue kind of dealing with. So damage and hit points will be straight out. This is how much damage you do. You do 10 points of damage. You do 20 points of damage. Hit points, you have 20 hit points. You have 30, 40, whatever. Armor is percentage and how much can be negated. So yeah. Okay, so how many zombie types there are? So we're going to go back up real quick. I'm dragging you along with me. Again, I'm still working through the actual numbers, but yeah, for example, zombies, HP 10, they do 5 damage, they have 10 armor, so they take 10% of damage off. And I'm putting level requirements as, like, you don't want to, like, spew your load and have, like, an entire farmland full of your army. That's not really good hiding in plain sight. It is where you're slowly like, okay, all right, more adventurers are coming in, but obviously I don't want to make it look like the Lich is back, so let's go ahead and bring out the skeletons, the golems, and all that stuff to keep it, like, spooky enough to where adventurers will turn away, but they won't run to the Holy Order trying to get some sort of executive order to exercise the land. Sounds like Plants vs. Zombies is to reverse the good guys against the zombies. A little bit, yeah. A little bit. But my goal is for it not to be 100% Plants vs. Zombies. It needs to be... Because, again, it needs to be passive, and it needs to be in reaction to your preparation. You don't get to actively attack your attackers. It is full-on defense. Don't you have the numbers right there? I do, but they're not, like, 100% set in stone. Because, again, this right here, this entire thing right here... Oh, whoopsie, did not mean to do that. This whole entire thing right here is going to be tested. It's going to have to be tested in-game, once I get programming down. For example, if someone has 20 arm and they get attacked with 10 damage, they only get hit with 8 damage. Exactly, things like that. So armor is only the percentage that will be negated from the damage they take. So I have to test out, like, combat scenarios where a zombie and an adventurer can attack each other. What happens to resolve it? Obviously, we want the zombie to win. I don't want adventurers to full-on be able to defeat zombies easily. I mean, they could, and that's more congruent to reality of how zombies would work, but you are a trained lich, and these zombies are not just your randomly average zombies where you just pick them off the graveyard and bring them out. No, they have history being and working for you. They have a little... They're not your level 1 zombies, they're your level 5, 10 zombies. Does that make sense? They're not your level 1 zombies, they're your level 5 to 10 zombies. Yeah, Zombob ain't your average Joe zombie. I feel like this would be a good anime. That would be fun, but let's make it a game first. Let's make it a game. Okay, that adds up, hey. But yeah, these numbers are not the solid numbers that'll be based in the game. These are not like, hey guys, this is the final stats. Like, no, I have to test them to make sure that they're equally balanced to also... These aren't your average everyday zombies. These are advanced zombies. But yeah, so we ain't Dr. Frankenstein. We can actually reanimate the dead. Exactly. These zombies are powerful. These are not zombies you just called from the ground. These zombies have a history with you and have history fighting. So they know. They have experience. Ha-cha-cha. All your zombies are the adventurers that die your zombies after every fight. That would be an interesting idea. I would love to add that. Right now, that's just an idea. Because obviously, I want simple first. I want simple. If I can keep it simple, great. I mean, if basically the dead adventurers end up in your zombie pool, that would be... Sorry. My brain just realized what was playing in the background, first and foremost. But also, too, that brings a really great idea that I actually need to add into my list. I'm so sorry. I need to add that to my list, so... So success. So let's see. So dead enemies get added to zombie pool. So what the fuck is this? Like, I want to be able to expand that now. So, all right. So zombie pool. Let's think about this now, because now you got my brain churning, and the world's gonna keep on burning, rolling down the river. Okay. So, zombie pool. So, obviously, with the zombie pool, this is gonna be, so, you're a lich. You have minions. They love you. They work for you. These are not level 1 zombies. They are levels 5 through 10 in D&D terms. So, zombie pool, zombie beach party. Good rewards. You've experienced the zombies. Ha cha cha. All your zombies are the adventures. Yeah, I like that idea. So, what the zombie pool will kind of add. So, let me actually make a table. No, I don't need a table. So you'll have zombies that get to know you, and also you can have unnamed zombies, because down the line I want like people to be able to like help fund the game and make a custom zombie that you can add into the pool. But basically these are the zombies that you will pull from to help defend your land and all that stuff. So you'll have like your Bob, your Oob, your you'll have your Gerald, you'll have all of these like cool zombie 3, like you'll have an entire list of zombies that you can kind of pull from who have worked with you in the past, and because you're a cool person and not just like this evil overlord lich, they know you, they appreciate you, they respect you, and that's why they defend you. So when you summon a zombie, there's a chance that one of these will come up rather than just like the randomly generated zombie thing that might come out. Going to the same naming conventions as House of the Dead. Exactly! Beef Wellington the Third. And I mean, obviously, you'll have player name customization option, or random name generator. So you can either name your zombies, or it can be a random name, and then obviously funding goal, create your own zombie to be summoned. So yeah, it's like things like that. So you'll have a zombie pool, and upon battle success, dead enemies become servants. And basically through the dark magic of the weave, they'll be more accommodating to serve you rather than be like trying to fight you the entire Eldritch Cannon Dave. Love it! Again, like through the weave, I'll make a note for lore purposes, because I do want lore. Lore is, you know me, you all know me, lore is importante in terms of this. The weave will bend the mind of the dead enemies to be obedient until devoted. There we go. Things like that. So, yeah. And this will also include, like, your siblings. Eventually, your siblings could also be your undead servants. So, yeah. You shall pet them and love them and name them all George. I mean, if that's your prerogative, go for it. Dark magic of the weave, we really be a material. We used to be a material, girl. I call it the dark weave because that is the threat. Because basically, as a lich, you're playing with the fabric of life and death. So, obviously, the weave makes sense. What about the other creatures you can summon? They'll be part of a zombie pool. They'll have different zombie pools. I just call zombies because they're all technically of the undead variety. So maybe we should call it the undead pool. So, undead pool? But of course, adventurers will be more zombies than, for example, you can't force them to be a golem or a wraith or a skeleton. The adventurers will be baseline zombies. So, why are the zombies wearing weaves? Love Mao. You know, maybe it's a fashion choice. Okay, maybe it's a fashion choice. You can't judge them. But yeah, so adventurers will be zombies specifically. They'll be your basic ass ones because they just got into your arsenal. It's not like you can deform them to where they can be skeletons or golems and things like that. They're not dogs, so they can't be hounds, etc., etc., etc. Makes sense for everything, but forcing the zombies to like you feels creepy. Well, how else are they going to serve you? So, there is a level of creepiness to it, but then again, you are an undead lich who tried to take over the world. And it's not like everyone consented to you trying to take over the world. So, it's kind of like that line where it's not where they're gonna like you, it's where they're gonna be obedient. Because once you get their obedience, then you can show them, like, hey, I'm not so bad of a person. You can actually like me. It's not like you're forcing them to like you. You're just forcing them to listen to your commands. It's like casting command in D&D. It's not like you're forcing them to love you. You're forcing them to obey a rule. So, I said it made sense. Fair enough point. Since zombies are undead, could have some of them growing plants of them? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Again, later down the line. Let's see. I mean, you could probably make them a flesh golem if you had enough bodies. Extremely fair point. But I guess that'll be for if I decide to add upgrades in terms of magic. If I added upgrading, you can upgrade your zombies via magic. That'd be another thing as well. The undead pool. Deadpool. Let the zombies dress how they like. It's not like we're gonna bang the zombies. No! God, no. There's already 5 romance options available. Why would you want to bang the zombies? Come on. I can imagine at some point there's more sentient undead doing a death pool, and it's very big on who will die again during each fight. That would be fun. I would like to have... I would like for the zombies to be less of just mindless minions, and more so of like, you could actually, not like have full-on conversations with them, but at least know that they have a history with you, and that the ones you've summoned before like you, and the ones you just got are learning you. So, let's see. Plus, the Necromancer is the one to bring them back to life. Exactly. I think that for the travelers we kill, their love or obey meter should be low. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. You got witch mommy over there. Why would you want to bang a zombie? Wait, you can name them zombies so I can call them my bitch? Yes. Yes, you can. That'll be player's choice. Naughty zombies go into flesh golem. Good ones go into the pool party. And the Necromancer can resurrect them afterwards in case they bet on themselves. That would be interesting. That would be a really fun side. But again, that's down the line if I can... I want to make this simple first, and then add cool shit after if I have the ability. I don't want to be like, I have all these cool ideas, and then I can't do it by myself, and I'm like, well, I guess this game's never gonna get done, because I can't do it by myself. I want to do the simple shit first, and then add extra stuff on top of it later. I think it would be cool if there were just 2 or 3 lines for the zombies to speak, give them some personality. Yeah, I agree there. I 100% agree. That's why, like, I obviously want to make, like, a list down the line of, for example, like, zombies that, like, 10 zombies that's already in your arsenal. So we have, obviously, there's Bob, there's Oob. I would love for there to be, like, Jeremy. Wilma. There also could be like Blood Slayer. Like epic shit, like they'll have zombies that are already like pre-made down the line that you could summon and have them work. And so these are like your go-to zombies that you know can turn around and do farming and then turn around and kick some ass if need be. Brains. There's like Chad. Karen with an I. Like, and you can rename them as you wish. They just appear as them. So it's just like... But you have 10 already in the pool that you can automatically call upon. Obviously you have thousands, but these are the ones that at the top of your mind, you know that they exist, and you know that you, like, pull them as needed. Yeah, so, things like that. There's Bob, your favorite zombie, and they know it. Exactly, there's Bob, your favorite zombie, and they know it. For the line of DLC, Death Pool is just a shack bar style where they all just gather to make bets. That'd be fun. That would be fun, 100%. But yeah, so you have all that going for you. Does this all make sense? Bob, Bobbert, Bob. But yeah, does this all make sense at this point? I'm not, like, confusing anyone now, am I? Sorry, I'm just, like, waiting for the chat to respond. Makes sense to me? Okay. Cool. We're hyped? Okay, good. Then, once I start programming, the battle system is going to be the first thing I kind of hammer in and try to make work. Because if I can get the battle system to work, then everything else should be kind of easy in comparison. Which zombies is the one nobody likes, but for some reason we keep it as a Doug? I think it would be Chad. I think it's Chad. Or Bloodslayer, who just has that name because they want to be cool. Bobbant. Oh my god. Yeah, so sorry guys. I'm not feeling 100%, like I mentioned before. So I'm just like, oof. Body is just not agreeing with me right now. Okay. Alright. I think I figured out the combat system. I just need to see if it's programmable. If it's programmable, great. If it's not programmable, we're gonna have an issue. But that's gonna be for programming Michaela, not for director writer Michaela. So it is Monday. Fair enough point. It's just like, it's also my dad's birthday, so my brain is like, I could go spend my time with my dad as well. I gotta eventually do that before the day's end because it's his birthday. Blood Slayer is probably the most normal out of all of them. Let's all hit on Chad. Lamau! Yeah, so let's hit on Chad. 100%. Alright. Okay. Not sure what else to kind of go through other than we could probably talk about the characters. You're a lich, you have minions. They love you. They work for you. Yeah, so... But yeah, so like I mentioned before, there are 2 areas that we gotta determinedly make. You have your farm, which is gonna be... That's where kind of the game screen is, and of course there's more that the game screen will go down and kind of look at all that stuff. That time think about the last stream? Yeah, there's this, and then eventually there's the Hamlet, which I don't know if I want to make a rabbit hole. I don't know if I want to make it a rabbit hole or if I actually want to have the Lich be able to explore it. For my brain, it would be better to make it a rabbit hole, but I know people don't like rabbit holes. Does Programmer Mickey argue with Director Mickey? Yes, we argue a lot. Because when it comes to me programming, for example, like the visual novel shit, I'll have this really cool idea, and then I'll try and program it and be like, what the fuck was I thinking? What the fuck is... What? How many indents do I need? What? Why is there a semicolon here? I don't need a semicolon here. Like, Programmer Mickey and Director Mickey go head to head a lot. And so I'm excited to get back into doing more head to head combat with myself. It's always fun. But yeah, so I don't know if I want the Hamlet to be a rabbit hole. But it may have to be for the sake of simplicity. But if I'm able to make it not a rabbit hole, then I think people will like that more. Because I know, at least, like, for example, in the Sims communities and all that stuff, or, like, in other RPGs where, like, you don't necessarily enter the town, they don't necessarily, like, there's actually a big hatred towards rabbit holes. Because, like, you want to be able to explore the town. You want to be able to go into the buildings. You want to be able to do all this stuff. I'm like, I am an individual developer who doesn't have a lot of money to pay for all of this stuff. So how am I gonna do that all by myself? So it may have to be a rabbit hole until I have the funds to be able to make the Hamlet into an explorable area. And basically, in terms of a rabbit hole, the Hamlet would essentially be, you could choose to go to the Hamlet, and it's just like this big, it's basically like this big, beautiful image of the Hamlet. And you have a menu of where you want to go. For example, like, you like click on, you want to go to the inn, and you basically get a visual novel style. Oh, like you see the werewolf there and all that shit. It's like, happy birthday to he who shares the same birthday with me. Yeah, thank you so much, and hi Genevieve. No one likes Wonderland here in Hamlet. That's what beta updates are for. Extremely fair. Does Fantasy Mickey make things harder for other Mickey, like Budget Mickey? Oh yeah. Like, Gresho, you don't understand. I would love to make this not like an epic, but like the ideas of grandeur that I have with this fucking game. The art style, I have so many particular tastes of how I want it to go. Like the voice acting, I know semi decently who I'd want to ask to voice act this stuff, but mind you, the rate of voice acting is fully dependent on what people are comfortable with. I could have a set rate for voice acting, and there will be people who will automatically say no, they can't because of how low or how low it could possibly potentially be. And also that means I have to take into account word count. If I want full voice acting, how many lines does each character have versus like partial voice acting, where it's like, hey, I only need you for like an hour. Can you give me like 20 sounds and maybe these particularly specific lines, etc., etc. Because I would love full voice acting. Money budget, that's not a thing that's going to possibly happen unless like we do a Kickstarter, and I really don't want to do Kickstarter. I want to be able to try and fund this whole thing myself, except if like a big producer comes in and be like, here's some money. I'm like, thank you! Things like that. I don't know. I gotta figure things out slowly but surely. How much damage can they inflict on your zombies as their base stat? So what is 5 defense? How much HP does that basic mostly? I haven't figured that out yet. I have not figured out the adventurer stats just yet. I just know that they have to be lower or equal to the zombies. Because I want at least the zombies to be a little better than the warriors and the adventurers. The only ones that are going to be a main problem are like the bosses and like specific higher level enemies from the Holy Order. So yeah, there's that. But no, like Budget Mickey looks at this and be like, okay, you can probably make the farm happen and a rabbit hole of a hamlet. But the fantasy Michaela is just like, well, obviously we already have the baseline for the farm. Like, farm's great, but I want the hamlet to be fully explorable. I want your lich to be able to go to each house, be able to enter in, say hello to the neighbors, all that stuff. Say hi to the neighbors in real active time, rather than be like, oh, it's a picture of the hamlet with a menu of where you want to go. You click the menu and you get a basic description of you walk into the inn. You see the werewolf there. It's just like, okay, that Let's scale things back because they are no longer. I've never been a material girl. I've never been a material girl. At no point in my life have I ever been a material girl. You know what a material girl would be for me? Is if I could make this game immediately. If I could hire on a team immediately. Like, no, I've never been a material girl. A lot of the shit that I've done, I've made myself with budgetary help and budgets that I've either built myself or have gotten Kickstarter for to pay artists and voice actors. And compose musicians and all that stuff. And now I also gotta think about music. I gotta think about music for this fucking game. Ah! But yeah. Maybe the attack can be 7, so the wood armor is equipped. You can at least use it. Yeah. I have to do some testing. So. But Fantasy Mickey is just shaking all the other Mickeys with ideas going bigger. But yep. Like, again, I want the hamlet to be explorable. I would love the hamlet to be explorable. I want to see the actual like hamlet villagers be able to move and have their own schedules. That way you can interact with them, give them gifts, all that stuff, etc., without like it being, oh, it's not as casual as I want it to be. I can't immerse myself. It's just like managing the farm, and I'm like, that sounds boring. But that's right now what I can do. So my focus has been mainly on like get the farm ready, get the farm handled, and then deal with the hamlet as it comes in. First rabbit hole, then expand it to where you can explore it and say hi to the neighbors. If that makes any sense. What do we do for music? Kazoo? Well, I'm still trying to determine the style for the music. Because it obviously needs to have casual style where like you can relax to it while doing your farm thing, doing your casual talk thing. It needs to have emotional music where you have your emotional moments with the villagers and all that stuff. But obviously there needs to be some sort of mild combat music for when the combat happens. Are we going to talk about the Bear Cub now? We could, yeah. Popping in for a second. Thank you for the 5. I want to ask if each accomplishment will have MC do a cute evil laugh. I think that'd be fun. That'd be really, really fun. Would the neighbors also be retired villains? No, the neighbors, I can actually go with it because we done the goal today. We did the goal today, figuring out making sure the combat system works and make sure it's not confusing. So I can probably talk about the characters today. We'll go ahead and read, and I'll bring them up again. Ask Brian for music. Brian said he might be down. It's fully dependent on him, maybe. Yeah. Potentially, but let me go ahead and hold on. Let me fix this real quick because obviously I gotta bring out characters as those importante. Let me go ahead. We did the goal. Great. Gotta pull out. Gotta pull out. Yep. There we go. Gonna pull out my design, not designs, but my ideas for the designs of the characters, so that way I can explain the neighbors. Because I see some new names, I see some new faces, which are great. Hi, hello. My name is Michaela Luz. I used to make visual novels, and now I want to get back into game dev. Forgot about Game Dev Monday. Yeah. But I missed. Oh, we talked about the combat system. But let me go ahead and go back to characters and all that stuff, so we can talk about the characters. Whoa. Why did it? Why did it? Why did it look at that? There we go. Okay, great. Okay. Boop. And I think. There we go. Yeah, that works. Oh, I need to make it big. Oh, let's make it bigger! Can we leave it alone? All right, so recap on the characters, and we'll go ahead and add talks about like the details we want to add for the characters in terms of their quest lines. We can talk about that real quick as well. So obviously we have the Necromancer, sexless, gender undeterminable. They are purely a skeleton lich. They used to try and they previously tried to take over the world and they failed. So now they're kind of escaping and they're kind of living in hiding, just trying, not like, to them it's not hiding, to them it's kind of resolving to just live, essentially. So yeah, there's that. Then of course you have Mom and Dad who previously owned the farm that you're working on. You only could resurrect their heads. So they are little skeleton heads that bounce around and follow you and be your guide to like the farming aspect and taking care of things and all that stuff. So of course, one of those images is just grim from, yeah, exactly. These are not my designs. These are just ideals for what they could potentially look like. These are not like, hey guys, this is the design, the official design. No, it's not gonna be like that. These are just like kind of the direction I want to go with these characters. Again, like these little skeleton heads, they'll bounce around and follow you around because they're your mom and dad, and they dote on you and they appreciate you and all that stuff. So yeah, mood boards. It's a mood board. It's a mood board. Where the Necromancer's eyes have like white candlelight pupils. Ooh. Again, there will be a design stream. I wanted to have today to be a design stream, but I wanted to do math instead because my body was not feeling totally 100% ready. Ow, my brain. Alright, and then of course you have your siblings who are your enemies. Your siblings are the big bosses of each season, so you'll have 3 months to fully prepare for their attack. And so it's one of those things where like you got to be ready for them. Your youngest sibling, Kira the Kind, youngest sister, Acolyte, like she wants to prove herself, and so she attacks because she's fully devoted to the church. She's fully devoted to being like the cool priestess sort of thing. Yeah, whatever. You have Charles the Chivalrous, who is like hot-headed, wants to prove himself to the Knight's Order. He wants to be able to rise up in the ranks like his brother did and his sister did. So of course he is going to go gung-ho, hog wild, try and attack hard and fast. Then you have Philemon the Pious, aka Phil, your older brother, who joined and is now a high priest. So of course he has a little more control, but when he hits, it hurts. When he hits, it hurts. And then of course there's Gemma the Godly, who is the basically top brass of the Holy Order. She rose up in the ranks to be the top paladin. And of course she doesn't take no for an answer, and she will get her way one way or another. So get in her way, get holy smited. So those are the people who are going to be attacking you every season. Again, mood board, not official, just mood board. Then of course you have the Hamlet. The Hamlet is this small little, no more than 20 villager village of monsters who were tossed out of the Holy Order's new country and nation. Because after the fall of the Lich, they pretty much established themselves as the dominating governmental figure of the nation. And so the monsters who previously lived in the outskirts were kind of cast out beyond the borders, which is where you live. The church is the enemy because religion can be a great evil. Exactly. It's cool that the head honcho of the church is female. Most religious orders well, she's not like she's not the Pope. I don't have a Pope just yet because I didn't think about like, down the line there will probably be a Pope figure, whether it be male or female. I don't know. Generally, just not in my mind right now. But these characters are like these motherfuckers are coming to exercise the farm because that's also where they grew up. They know the farm. They know that mom and dad used to live there, and that the farm was kind of excommunicated from the church because your parents supported you. And so the fact that they can try and come in and try and exercise the land so they can claim it is kind of like, it's more than just, oh, there's a zombie infestation in the farm. There is, oh, my sibling might be there. Let's see what's going on. They're smarter than the average cookie, and they'll try and attack regardless, but nonetheless. But yeah, take that as you may. And then of course you have like I said, you have the village. They have little hamlets of like 20 plus villagers, barely 20 villagers, and of course you have your witch, Who is very much charismatic in look. If you look at her, she has like a 21 charisma, and it's fully because of familial, basically bodily beauty. But her intelligence is also up there in the 18s and 19s because she has a knack for using her charisma for business. And the thing is, has wanderlust. She wants to be able to explore the world, but she knows that the Holy Order doesn't take kindly to those who are not bowing to the whims of religion. And she herself just kind of deals with the adventurers who have no religion, rather than trying to bend against the religion that is already taking place in the Holy Order. She has wanderlust, and she finds the necromancer interesting for his spell components instead of his vegetables. I'm saying necromancer as he for right now because my brain just can't think of them or it or whatever. Which reminds me of the first competitors in Potionomics. I guess a little bit. But yeah, she's not just a pretty face. She's not just pretty boobs. She is. I want her to be a character that defies her looks, if you would. Then of course we have the werewolf, who is the mayor of the town. The mayor being. He is not necessarily its guardian, but more so its guide into surviving the Outland. Because this hamlet lives deep in the woods, and yeah, so he is a gentleman with a monster inside. That's kind of how I thought of him. So he wants to be polite. He wants to be like respected, less than feared. But he has a legitimate monstrous side. Which will come out during his friendship route. So his friendship / romance route, etc., etc. I am currently working on my game. That's not a question I'm going to ask. That's not a question I'm going to answer. So he said the Holy Order stops at the High Priest is defeated. So how does that go about? I haven't thought about that yet. I truly have not thought about that yet. So a Garu from the World of Darkness, a little bit, just a little bit. Then of course we have the Shapeshifter, who is a they them. And they're the ones who will deal with more of your natural, like your vegetables, your meats, who will bring that around to sell for the hamlet in behest of the hamlet, to the Holy Order's lands, because they can shapeshift into a human and kind of blend in. But of course their route is kind of respondent to like, why are humans like this? We barely look different, etc., etc. Like if Lewis from Stardew Valley has more Asgore personality, that looks like yeah, but not Lewis. But not Lewis. Then of course you have the vampire. She is the cold, stoic, like not bodyguard, but like high guard, like the knight. Just head captain of the guard for the hamlet, because she views the village as hers. Because she lost literally everything. She used to be a noble who lived in the Holy Order, and they got kicked out. So now she's protective as hell, but she's not like a yandere, nor is she a dorodere. She is more of just, I will fuck your shit up, if you try and touch what's mine. And that's more towards the adventurers that try to invade. Less so of like, yes, the vampire will be buff. I want her to be a step on me, mommy. I want her to be I don't want her to be Lady Dimitrescu. I don't want her to be, like, specific characters. I want her to be a very buff mommy, vampire mommy. I want her to be like, yes, she is terrifying. I want her to be terrifying. But she's also very adorable, and she's also very sweet, and when you truly get to know her. Because she used to be a noblewoman, and so she grew herself up to be able to protect what's hers. Then of course we have the demon, who is going to deal with all of your upgrades for your zombies and all that stuff. Don't know if I want to go full Cambion or if I want to like kind of have a mix, but he is a demon. I might go full Cambion simply just because monster aesthetic, but also at the same time I'm like, he could also just be a guy with horns and a tail, and I'm like, it could be maybe down the line. I don't know, depends on how I feel. She is terrifying, but she is hot. Prepare to be caroused. Exactly. And then you have the non-romanceable village members. Was it Cambion? Cambion is a devil, like a demon devil. Like, so this, like this one versus like this one. So they have more of a demonic look rather than like a human look, if that makes sense. So Then, of course, you have the non-romanceable villagers, which is like the mole man, who will be dealing with the mountain area. You have your dryad, which I still have not determined if I want to gender on them yet. Design-wise, I'm gonna have to figure it out. The living armor, which is a character who essentially has no master anymore, so they're kind of shambling and trying to figure out their purpose, and they don't have a name, so their friendship option will be like trying to name them because they need someone to name them. They don't have a master to name them anymore. They have the Nyakin family, who is a mom and her 3 children, who escaped from a big raid from the Holy Order, and basically her husband and their father died protecting them while they ran. So she's kind of like dealing with the fact that she's now a single mom to 3 kids, and the kids are like, well, dad's not with us anymore, we gotta help him. You have the Goliath, who is very much... I'm still trying to pin down an exact formula on this guy, how I want his story to go. But right now, he is just the rock that kind of keeps everything together, because he is the big 8-foot-tall Goliath. He's the 8-foot-tall, big, strong brick house of a Goliath. Aren't those cat kids in the server? Yes. Again, mood board, not design. These are a mood board. But again, with the Goliath, 8-foot-tall brick house. Trying to figure out where to kind of place him in terms of like friendship route and all that stuff. Then I have the haunted family, which is just a nobleman and his son, when his wife was pretty much executed for being a traitor to the Holy Order. So it's him and his son trying to figure out like how to live without, not only without her, but also the fact that the Holy Order betrayed them by killing her, because they were accepting of her. But of course, because they accepted her, they got banished for that. Slaughtered his clan supposes unholy tribal practice, backstory of the Goliath. A lot of all the others already have that. I want Goliath to be more of like a little bit of a take a fresh air. It's like it's I don't want everyone to be affected by the Holy Order in such a way. So the Goliath seems more of just like, nah, the Goliath's been living in the outskirts for a while, and it's him also coming to terms with the fact that more people are coming into their territory, etc. And then you have the Clocken family, which is in my head, and to everyone not surprised, the 3 little bears, the 3 bears from Goldilocks. You have dad, who works in security detail, mom, who kind of helps out with the Nyakin mom in the village square, and then you have the kid, who is way too curious for his own good, and basically the Clocken child, the bear child. Their story is they want to go around and they want to be able to explore the world, but it's up to you to kind of be like, hey, let's slow down, buddy. Let's not do that. And of course, I don't want it to be like there's a big trauma moment where he sees an adventurer killing an animal or something like that. Like, no, that's not what I want the direction-wise for his route. I want his route to be more of like, he is smart enough to understand without having to be traumatized. How do the love interests interact with the Skullhead parents or possibly turned siblings? I haven't gotten there yet. I haven't sat down to really like dissect the whole... I haven't sat down to write all of their routes officially, so I don't know. But more often than not, they're just gonna be like, okay, I mean, you are a necromancer. You do have zombies working for you, so I guess that makes sense. Shrug. They're kind of like, okay, sure. Okay, I believe you. I have one of the Clocken family quests is making the family porridge the way each of them likes it. That'd be hilarious. So basically, you just want to make sure the bear cub is cautious, but not paranoid. Exactly. I want him to be cautious, not paranoid. I don't want, like, oh, the adventurers are going to come and try and kill him, and the necromancer saves them because obviously the necromancer's a nice person, and the cub is traumatized for life. I don't want that. I want education. I want the cub to learn what to do and to learn and understand what's going on without being forcefully traumatized by adventurers. I want them to be able to learn rather than be forced into the situation to be forced. That makes sense? I think it makes sense. It makes sense to me. And then of course my favorite of the villagers, the Flame Moth family, which is the Mothman who is in love with the flame elemental. And they cannot touch, but they want to be together. And so the Mothman tries to figure out a way to be worthy of the flame, essentially flame princess's love and affection, because They both ran away together. They both were kicked out of their clans. But Mothman doesn't necessarily feel like he is worthy of her. Because she is a royal. Let's be real, she is a royal. But, of course, she made her choice and she wants to be with him. And so she's trying to figure out how to properly give him the confidence it is to be like, hey, I chose you. Please don't doubt yourself. I chose you. I love you. And so that's why her quest line is all about, like, give me a human form so that way I could touch him. And the Mothman's quest line is, I want to be worthy of her, so it's you trying to help build up his confidence. Yeah, she is... I want her to be royalty that chose to be with him, rather than follow her destiny of being a princess, if you would. But yeah. Yeah, she's royalty, yeah. But yeah, so that is the entirety of the characters that I somewhat fleshed out so far. At least the ones that are more like, this is kind of who is involved. And then obviously we'll have all of the zombies, which will be like generated from like random like hats that you could put on their head and just like different heads, different bodies, etc., etc. Like those will be generated in-game, randomly generated. And then of course you'll have the other monsters, whether it be like the skeletons, golems, wraiths, hounds, mummies, shadows, the adventurers, etc., etc. Oh my lord, I am screaming. Please stop. But anyways, so yeah, so I hope the spell didn't let her permanent. Does no? I want it to be where she can toggle it on and off, and there's a spell that the necromancer will be able to kind of help out with that down the line. But anyways, but yeah. So have I caught everyone up to the idea? Have I caught everyone up to like what's it going? Because if you want more information, if you want more in-depth shit, I literally have publicized all of my streams on my Game Dev Mondays. Go watch. I guarantee you, they are public. They are watchable. You can get more in detail from there. But yeah. Okay. Flame Lady. Where's the toggle button? Where's the toggle button? Lamau. But yeah, so okay. My brain. But yeah, so I'm still working through building up their kind of like this stuff and how I'm like I have it to where I can have like their prerequisites, like give them a gift to succeed the quest line, talk to them at night to receive the quest line. But obviously I need to title them and then give more detail of kind of like how I want. For example, Haunted Father's like adjustments, keeping resolved, small discontent, new paths going forward. It's like slowly growing to like let them adjust to not only being in the hamlet but figuring out themselves how to like handle against the Holy Order, etc., etc. Will you at the very least make sure the Mothman can be flameproof where he touches her? I don't know. I don't know. I think it's going to be more of just when she's with him, she'll have her form up. When she's not with him, she will obviously be in her natural form. But because she likes being around him, she'll have that ability to like be with him, etc., etc. in that part. Does that make sense? Yeah? Whereas it's like, I'm gonna go hold his hand. So poof, human form. And then when he's gone doing his job being like the mayor's secretary, she's like, okay, time to do my job. Poof, back to flame form, etc., etc. But yeah. Does that make sense? I think that I think that makes sense. Yeah. I'm so sorry for the low energy. Again, not feeling 100%, but at least my goal was the most basic of goals, which was to get this fucking thing out of the way. So, but I think starting next month I can start programming, and I'll use stick figures for right now, at least to kind of get the combat down and try to get just the basic bare bones shit down, etc., etc. Babe, what if we hold hands? Lamau. Will Flame Girl still have flame powers in her human form? No. I think once she's in her human form, she's kind of defenseless. But there will never be a moment in the game where she needs to defend herself. So yeah. If you'd rather go through the hole, you can't be your physical... I'd rather not go through the hole, you can't be your physical self while with him vibe. Well, that's the thing. We are dealing with a couple who literally cannot be together. It's like trying to make a water boy and flame girl touch. Like, how do you resolve that? One of them's gotta change. One of them has to, or else there is no surviving. And being that she is in a higher place of power, where she is literally a royal, she wants to change for him because he already feels like he's not worthy. He loves her, she loves him, they both want to be together, they both love each other, but it can't just be, well, we can't touch each other ever because neither of us can change, because neither of us are able to accept the fact that they physically cannot touch. And so her being in a higher power is like, nope, I can choose this. This is my choice to make, and I choose to change myself to be with him. But obviously there will be facets of, like, she can still keep her regular self when she's not with him. Like Shockboy and Lava Girl. Yeah, more like Elemental. Yeah, it's more like Elemental, where, like, they can make beautiful music together, but it is 100%. If one of them does not change, they cannot be together. And it's not like she loses her identity when she has a human form. She just doesn't have her flame abilities. She's still her. It's still her. It's not like she's changed other than the fact that he can touch her. So yeah, that's the difference. Is that Flame Moth, the Flame Moth family is more of compromise of the fact that she is willing to change herself so she can touch him. So that way he knows he is worthy of her because she chose to be with him. It is not like, because I don't want it to be like where neither of them feel like they're worthy of each other because they can't touch each other. The moth already feels that way because he is not a royal. Like, he doesn't feel like he was worthy of a royal leaving their throne to be with him. So he's trying to figure out how to, like, still be worthy without being able to fully touch her and be able to touch her physically, giving her his love. And yet she chose him, and she wants to be able to touch him. And so she chooses to change herself to touch him. So it's not like, because he's accepting of the fact that they cannot touch. She's not. She wants to touch him, but she knows she'll hurt him because she has before. Her flame body has hurt him before. That's why in design, when it comes to Mothman, once I get back into it, once I go ahead and get back into the yeah, in design, one of his hands will be heavily burned and scarred because she wanted to touch him and she wanted to prove herself in that way, but he got hurt. And so he's still accepting, like, I still love you and I still want to be with you. I just can't touch you, but I hope that's enough one of these days. And she's more like, okay, I love you too. I feel the same way, but I want to touch you, so I'm going to change so that way I can. It is still her choice. She's not changing herself in that regard to where she turns into a completely different person. She's just doing so to be able to touch him because she wants to touch him. It's her choice. One of Mothman's quests is finding a rare flower that's fireproof to give. That would be cute as hell. That'd be very cute. I guess she can only imagine his sweet touch. Lamau. But yeah, so that, don't think of it like she's changing herself in the worst way. She's changing herself for her own benefit. She's changing for her choice. She's making the choice for herself. She has that power and she has that choice that she's taking. For her own reasons. She's not doing it for him to touch her. She's doing it for her to touch him. Does that make sense now? Where it's not like it's for him to touch her. It's more for her to touch him. Does that change things and make things a little bit, at least better on paper? Because in my head, it's about both of them have autonomy. And both of them have clear indications of what they want. She's just electing to change her autonomy for her desires rather than for his. Her powers of seal dependent can only be used for going back and forth. Maybe that'd be an idea. Ooh! Instead of like a spell, being like, make it like a pendant. That'd be fun. It's not like she won't be able to go back. Like you said, she'll be able to talk. Exactly. She'll be able to go back into her beautiful flame form. It's just when she's with him, she wants to touch him. She wants to poke him in the nose and go boop. Without burning his nose off. Basically, she has the loving language of physical touch. Yeah, it's like she's changing herself to get closer and it sounds a bit sweeter. Yeah, exactly. She wants to boop him in the nose and not burn his face off. So yeah. If I could tell my brother because I have fire powers, I'd be mad too. I'd want to turn it off. Dude. Exactly. Just turn it off. And it's not, again, she's not doing it permanently. She's just like, turn it off. Like a light switch. Just go click. I'm a human now. Hey, dick. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so take it like that. I don't see any of my characters having necessarily any sort of problematic issues. And I don't want there to be, because again, I want this to be a very casual experience. The only quote-unquote problematic would be like the farm animals. You can slay the farm animals to get their, like, to get butchery. Fire Rule wants to bring heat without the burn. Talks about boop. And then just happy moth noises. Exactly, just boop. But yeah, the only thing that would be questionably problematic would be like, you know how casual games have the whole, oh, everyone's a vegetarian or like a Episcopalian. Like, no, I want there to be butchery in the game. You get butchery. You can actually have animals and have like their whole poultry and their bones and like the lamb and the ribs and the round and the chucks and all that stuff. That's the only quote unquote problematic potential involved in this. So yeah. What is someone is after Flame Girl for her powers, so Flame Girl gives Mothman the pendant which holds powers. A little too much. We're going too far. Too far. Too far. Bring it back. Reel it back. Give it some slack and then reel it in. Give it some slack and then reel it in. Give it slack and reel it in. Let's keep focus. Because we can expand once the base game is done. We can expand once we have an idea of the baseline game. I am willing to expand more if we can get the baseline game down. And right now, as you can see with all of the math that I gotta do and all of the organization I gotta do and all of this that I gotta do, I gotta figure out how to make that all work. There. That's how that's gonna go. Yeah, VH safe noises plays like, hold it, reel it in. Get the pencil, put it in the VH says, and not the VH. Grab the pencil, put it in the cassette player, and reel it back. But yeah. But I think today off screen, I'm gonna start making the script, at least for certain events. If I could start on the romance options, if I could get to the romance options. Great. If I could start the romance quest lines, I should be able to write the scripting for that. And okay, I need an opinion from y'all. Do you think it'll be okay if I do partial voice acting temporarily? And then, like, if we somehow get a bunch of funding, we do full voice acting? Because I feel like partial voice acting will be just fine, as long as people have at least a voice to kind of pin on the characters, etc., etc. Can Mothman be distracted with a bright enough light source to have a romantic evening when you look at the sunset or oh, pseudo Animal Crossing voices would be hilarious. Oh my lord. No, I don't want gibberish. I do not want gibberish. I want actual like version in that. Yeah, so and plus I do like voice acting, and I think voice acting is great not only for just immersion purposes but also accessibility purpose. So yeah. Yeah, so temporarily, once I get a script down and once I get programming down, which I think programming will start next month. If I can get programming start next month, then I can start working on the cutscenes and trying to make them work-ish. What makes you feel comfortable to eat? Or encryption level voices? Maybe, I don't know. I have to think about it. I'm thinking more like visual novel style, like partial voices where it's just like, huh? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Ah! Things like that. And then like certain phrases could be actually voices, like for example, which like I'll see you later, hun, or things like that. Whereas like there are certain phrases they will say. Would I voice act one of the characters yourself, or would you prefer someone else? I'm still determining whether or not I want to voice either the vampire or the flame girl. But I do want to voice in it, obviously, because I want to voice stuff. Would I do a casting call? I don't know. I voice acting right now is the last thing on my mind in terms of casting. I have a couple people in mind I'd want to reach out to, But in terms of casting officially, I don't have a plan right now because I want to first develop the game and then figure out, 1, how many lines each person has, 2, what kind of direction I want to go with the voice acting, and 3, etc., etc. I want a very specific side with the vampire. I want the vampire, because I already have the witch being definitely more feminine, definitely more like the charming feminine type. I want the vampire to be a little less feminine, but still clearly powerful. If you're up for it, can you start ready for Flame Moth? I'm frothing at the mouth. These two, if you VA Flame Girl, Brian has to VA Mothman. Brian, can you accept that? Can you accept voicing Mothman if I voice Flame Girl? Okay, he's agreed if I do it. I still have to determine, nonetheless. I feel like that would be your best choice voice as. Maybe, but I know there are so many talented VAs out there that I'm not worried about casting these characters. These characters, I always imagine that every unvoiced character in the world is 95% done. They are not full characters unless they have voices. So in my mind, these characters will also still be built by the voice actors who come in to help out. Obviously I gotta get designs down, I gotta get their scripts down, I gotta get their technical shit down first before I even consider their voice. And I know, like, before I used to be like, okay, partially I need to know the voices so I can develop these characters. Now I want to reverse it to where, like, no, I want everything to be done and then voice coming in last, and if I change anything, it'll be because of the voice actor, not because I'd had a last minute change part. Little Nightmares be damned. But more of just like in immersion. Not like it's not like a character is incomplete without a voice, in true honesty. It's just my opinion that like characters without voices are for me are 95%. But yeah. We gave the flame elements, Brian would risk getting burnt without a second thought. Yeah, voice acting right now, last priority. But now that I have characters in mind, I can actually start writing out their script, writing out their details. Kind of like get their scripts ready for cutscenes, because cutscene programming is easy enough. There's so many different ways to do cutscene programming. I'm just inserting that. So yeah, and besides, it's not like there's a time limit in the game anyway. Every time changes are fully player progression, where you progress forward and you elect to press forward. But yeah, I think that's the plan right now, is wait until next month to start programming, but start now on at least writing out details. Because there is technically a third location that I do want to add, but this one will 100% be an image of like the Holy Order Cathedral, and have the characters that like in the Holy Order talking to each other before the attacks on the farm, if that makes sense. Where you'll see kind of your siblings kind of in an omnipotent, is it omnipotent? In an omnipotent way, showing their side before they attack. And that way the player not only understands how evil they are in comparison to you, but also just like why they're attacking, their motivations, and maybe a little bit of their battle style. But yeah. Okay. I am now 15 minutes. Necromancer spying on his siblings via magic. That could be a thing. That could easily be a thing. That's not that hard. But yeah, but that one is 100% a rabbit hole. That is an image of a cathedral background with the sprites of the siblings talking to each other. Maybe even to the Pope figure, if there is a Pope. But it's more of just the siblings, showing the siblings, them grown up, and maybe having like cutscene moments of just like, oh, I remember like getting bullied by one of them in this specific way, or something. Down the. But yeah. Oh. So I am like, I am a balloon. I'm a. Any questions for what we've gone over so far, whether it be the combat or the characters or just the plan going forward? Again, next month, March, will be programming time. This month is writing time. Is writing as much as I can to try and get it ready. So that way I can put it in the program. I mean, I'm hoping... Because I'm going to use Godot. My goal is to use Godot because it seems the easiest. And it also is open source friendly. And it's also like the newest and friendliest that I've seen so far. So that way, again, it's not a visual novel. It is fully interactable casual. That's only one more Monday. I can work on it. Like, again, it's not just the stream when I'm working on this game. I'm also working on this game offline as well today. So yeah. Love the fact that something called it's called Kind is horrible to think about. Yeah, I know, right? Do you plan on releasing a free demo of the game after some point? Whenever I fucking program it and release it. But yeah, but I want to be, mind you, this demo is gonna be stick figures because I can't draw worth shit. I don't have the art style in my head. Like, I have the art style in my head. I cannot draw the art style that is in my head. So any demo will just have really crappy stick figures or like little circles or like, you know, like how all 3D programmers are like, oh yeah, the egg. We can work with the egg. It's like, well, no. I mean, I'm not making an egg. I'm making sure that way people know, like, oh, this icon is the necromancer. All these icons are your zombies. These icons are your enemies. Like, this is your farmland. Things like that. And it'll be just very bone basic until I have the means to pay an artist to get one. But yeah. I is not artist. I cannot do it properly. But yeah. Any other questions before I decide to end early? Because that way I can rest a little bit before I sit on my laurels and type out all this crap. And by crap, I mean, like, more details and information that I would need. Like, for example, I'll need to make sure I have, like, if you interact with them and be like, hi, hello, how you doing today? And versus the cutscenes versus, like, them warning you, hey, there's an adventuring party on the way. Make sure you're prepared and all that stuff. But yeah, maybe next week will be a design stream where we'll sit down and actually design the characters. Like, official designs. So that way y'all can feel free to fanfic and fan art at your heart's desire. Does that make sense? Hi. Hi. Go ahead and rest. Okay. Alright. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go rest just for like a hair. And then get into writing. And then next week, Monday... Next week will be design, as in, like, we will sit with an art program, and again, I am not an artist, but I will design kind of, like, what I have in mind for it to look like, for each character to look like. But yeah. I'm already coming up with my custom characters. But yeah. Alright. Remember, hashtag HOTS. And maybe I'll release the title of the game next week. Maybe. If I feel like it. It'll be up to Brian. I'll leave it in Brian's head if I release the title of it. Anyways, I'm gonna get going, get a rest, and then I'm gonna get started on writing, and then next week will be design, and then March will be programming! Woo! That's gonna be fun. Alright. Tomorrow is Persona 3. We've decided that Brian will not be joining me officially for Persona 3 anymore, so it's gonna be a me and you stream. Brian will be there, obviously, like, to watch the cutscenes, because obviously he still wants to know the story beats and not... That way he doesn't sit through the grind. He doesn't have to sit through the grind and all that shit. That way he'll be able to watch the story beats when they happen. But tomorrow, Persona 3. Wednesday, Mickey Going Crazy. Thursday is Ace Attorney. We're gonna finish off Ace Attorney if we can. And then Friday is Lethal Company with some friends. But yeah. Alright. So, thank you everyone for joining me. Have wonderful sweet dreams, and I will see you all next time. Love you all!